This electric vehicle is available to all California and Arizona customers on a trial basis, and hopefully soon will be available to the entire country as well as the world. And we're going to be taking a look at the EV1. Okay, we have Amy from General Motors. She's going to bring us, tell us about the car. It's totally different than most cars on the road. What's unique about this car? It's kind of obvious, but still I'm sure there's other unique things.
Well, one of the things, it's the first purpose-built electric vehicle, and what that means, it's built from the ground up to be an electric vehicle. A lot of cars on the road right now that are considered electric are actually conversions, and that means it's an existing body type that has had various things adjusted to it and batteries installed in it. But this is the first purpose-built electric vehicle. We launched back in December with the car, and it's the first car to hold the GM name badge as well. Some of the unique characteristics about the car is the exterior of the car. You can tell it's very aerodynamic in look. The rear wheelbase is actually 9 inches narrower than the front, and all of that is for aerodynamic purposes. Another thing that this car is missing is an exterior antenna. And the reason that is also for aerodynamics and drag, or to prevent against drag. Some of the other unique characteristics about the car is low rolling resistant tires. They run at a higher pounds per square inch. All of these features are inclined to promote a higher range for the car. Since it is electric, it does have some limitations as far as how far it can go. But those features are all built in so that you can, obviously get the most out of each charge.
So anyone could use this to get around to their job or to go grocery shopping or take the kids to school.
Right, definitely. I mean, some of the limitations, obviously, it has only a certain range on it. Projected range is 70 to 90 miles per charge. It's not really a car that you're going to take on a family vacation. It is a two-seater sports coupe and is really designed more for commuting. Well, what you're seeing is the charge receptacle, and that it kind of appears to be to a lot of people like a toaster. Basically, that's where you charge the vehicle, and what goes into that charge receptacle is what we call a magnetic coupler. This car takes an inductive form of charging. That means that it's completely charged, or the electricity goes through a magnetic coupler, versus conductive charging, which is a more metal-to-metal contact. This is a very safe form of charging. You can do it in the rain. You could dip the paddle into water and then still plug in the car, and it's very safe. Also, the charge receptacle is safe. You could stick your hand down in it, and you don't run the risk of any electric shock as well.
You don't go to a gas station, you charge it at home. However, I guess there are other places where you can charge the car?
Right, there are other places, and those are public charging sites. Right now we've got nearing about 150 sites that are considered public charging sites. Those are in various locations. Every Saturn dealer has public charging. It is free to those people operating the EV1. Also, such businesses as Price Costco, Ralph's Grocery Store, Denny's Restaurant, the City of LA, a lot of various sites, and also our partners out in Arizona also have installed public charging, and again, that's free to anyone leasing an EV1.
So as you said, City of LA, and as I came in, I saw that there's a car here, an EV1 with the City of Santa Clarita on it. So I guess some cities are really on the ball in making this part of something they want to promote. Natural, I think, being from Southern California, because they want to see their air clean up for their citizens, right?
Right. A lot of cities are taking liking to this car. They're putting them into their existing fleets of vehicles. We've got various city officials driving the car, public works people driving the car, running around doing their daily business in it, and it's definitely meeting their needs and also cleaning up the environment.
Is Edison the only one who makes these chargers?
Edison really actually doesn't make the chargers. They are just a supplier or like wholesaler, and they do installation. It's a Delco Magna Charge. You can see that's the actual brand of the charger.
Have a look at the engine. I guess it might not even really be called an engine, or for sure not a combustion engine. One thing I can see is none of the stuff that I hate to change, even the regular maintenance that regular people do, like changing spark plugs and wires and oil filter. Even the water system, I imagine, it's not here on this car.
Well, again, what you're seeing is, a high technology vehicle. You are right, you're missing an engine in this car. What we have on the underneath side is what is called the power electronics bay, and basically we consider that the brains of the car. And then there's an electric motor that is housed under the power electronics bay. But one of the things that you mentioned was that you are missing like spark plug wires, dipsticks, all of those things are certainly missing on the EV1. That's one of the things that's so nice about an electric car, is that you don't really have to maintain it. With this car, all you have to do is maintain the tires. And again, I had alluded to the fact that they run at higher pounds per square inch, so therefore they need to be rotated every 5,000 miles. And really checking your fluids, that's really all there is to do with the EV1 on the underhood side. And all of that's covered under the terms of the lease and warranty.
And how about, here in Southern California, we sometimes drive to Las Vegas or whatever through the desert. On the East Coast, they have to deal with blizzards. How does this car hold up? How does this motor or electric system hold up to extreme weather conditions?
Well, the car is produced in Lansing, Michigan, so obviously it's spent its fair share of time in the cold weather. Again, it is a commuter car, and what you get into when you get into cold weather is batteries do not like cold weather. So therefore, what you would really see probably is a decrease in your range. The car is capable of obviously going through snow. It's got traction control on it. This car designed right now, though, certainly likes warmer weather. That's one of the reasons that we are marketing it in Southern California and Arizona to start with. The terrain is a big factor also with range, but again, certainly our friends on the East Coast need this car as much as Los Angeles and Arizona. So it is something that our engineers are doing various testing on to make sure it can withstand a winter, in the cold upper East Coast.
Just imagine, just by seeing these cars on the commercials or on the road, that there would be a bunch of batteries back in the trunk. I see there's plenty of room for groceries, suitcases, and
golf clubs.
Golf clubs.
Golf clubs. Definitely one of the things that is missing from the trunk is the batteries. On cars that are converted, that's where you see a lot of the battery stored, is in the trunk or basically any open orifice on the car. This car, again, is a real car for everyday use. People in their everyday lives do go shopping, they do go golfing. So that was one of the things that was very important in designing this car, is to make it as real as possible for the average consumer. So what you see here is a trunk that has the capacity to hold 2 sets of full-size golf clubs. Also in the trunk you see is a 110 portable charger that comes with the car. That can be plugged into any household outlet, and you can charge the car if you were at a remote location and could not get to your larger 220 volt charger. This charger does take a little longer to charge the car. It'll take about 14 hours to charge the car fully versus about 2 to 3 hours to fully charge the car on a 220 charger. Missing in this car is a key to start it up. You probably can't see here, but the car is missing a key. Instead of using a key, what we have is a keypad. It's comparable to like an ATM machine. Every owner has a 5-digit code to power the car up, and then also a 5-digit code to enter the car, or they can use a key to enter the car. So what we will do is just insert a 5-digit code, and today we have it set to all ones. So I'll press the 1-2 button 5 times, and then it'll tell me that it's a valid code, and that means I'm ready to go ahead and power the car up. And you'll see the dash come to life just like a conventional car. And it's running through all the system checks. It's checking the brake system, the tire pressure monitoring system, seat belts, temperature, the ABS system. And you can see that the parking brake automatically sets. It's telling us that the parking brake is still on, and that will release itself once you shift from park into drive or reverse or neutral. The rest of the display up here is the range indicator on the left hand side. Right now it says we have 32 miles of range remaining, and we're looking at about close to a full charge, a little less than a full charge. This indicator is like a fuel economy measure. It adjusts itself every 1.5 miles and takes into account how you're driving the vehicle. And then the indicator to the right of that is what we call state of charge. It's similar to like a gas gauge, and it denotes whether the car is full or empty. And you can see the battery icon next to it. The next gauge here is the miles per hour, and that obviously tells you how fast you're going. To the right of the miles per hour is the gear selector indicator, and what that tells us obviously is what gear we are in. One of the things that you can see is missing is like an overdrive or a drive 1, drive 2, and the reason being is that this car does not have a transmission. To the right of that then is the odometer, and we have a toggle switch then for you to look at what the trip odometer is. And then we'll toggle back to the actual odometer.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the main console area of the car. You can see that we have a CD player, a cassette player, and AM/FM radio. All of these features come standard with the car. On the left hand of the console is the heating and cooling system. You can see that it does have air conditioning, a heater, rear defrost, and also a de-icer. The de-icer is installed because that works more efficiently than an actual defrost. There aren't vents that blow the air onto the windshield or the rear windshield. It's all electric. So that's something also that is unique to this car. And if you were to look at it on the outside, you can almost see that there's a copper tint to the actual windshield, and that's where you can see the windshield when it heats up and it's working the way that it's designed to work. Also on here you can see, as we went over, is where you start up the car, and then above that is where you have power windows. Both windows are power. They go down automatically on their own just by pressing one of them. And then the other feature here is the lock button, and that's what is designed to just turn the car off. So we'll go ahead and power the car down, and you can see that the gauges and everything will disappear. Okay, and you really can't tell that the car was turned off because it's so quiet.
It was in a sense running.
The car was on and was ready to roll the whole time we've been sitting in it, and you can tell that it was very quiet. One other feature to note on this console, you can see a button that is on the gear indicator or gear selector, and then there's also an area up here called coast down. This feature is designed to allow the driver, when going down a hill or approaching a stoplight, to actually engage the car to where it will start slowing itself down without really depressing the brake. The benefit of using this feature and also the brakes is that it reverses the current of the electric motor and turns it into a generator. And what that means then is that there is energy being given back to the main battery pack. So anytime you brake in a normal braking situation, you're giving energy back to the battery pack.
Wow, that's neat.
And also engaging coast down, when going down a hill, that allows you to give energy back while moving forward at a pretty rapid pace. And it's all ones.
1, 1, 1, 1. Okay.
Okay, and did it say it's a valid code? You might need to press the 1, 2 button one more time.
Okay, I have a red light for valid code.
You have a red light that says valid code. Now you need to go to the left-hand side and press run. Okay.
Alright.
And there you can see that the car is coming to life. It's running through all of its system checks. Okay, and everything it looks like is checked out. We do see that you don't have your seatbelt on.
Okay. Now this car does have, for everyone out there, I'm about 6 foot tall, and I imagine it would be comfortable for someone up to taller than me by a few inches.
Definitely. We've got some owners that are probably about 6'4", that, you know, they're a little uncomfortable maybe depending on what their body frame is, but it's definitely got a lot of leg room for those taller passengers. Okay, we're ready to roll right now. What you're going to do is go ahead and depress the brake.
Okay.
And on the gear indicator, you want to hit the top button. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and shift into reverse.
Okay, so even though it doesn't have a transmission, it's made for, it just says reverse, and that just puts the motor in reverse.
It's like a direct drive.
Okay.
Okay, and what you're hearing right now is a warning horn. Because the car is so quiet, the car is telling people that I'm coming back. So that's what you're hearing right now.
Okay. I've always wanted to drive an electric car, and I I've seen this one in development throughout the years, so here I go. Just go to drive,
Yep,
huh?
go ahead and go to drive.
Seems like it has power everything.
Yep, power everything, power steering, power locks, power windows. It's definitely a real car.
Wow. Here we are driving around the Saturn lot just like on the Saturn commercial.
Yeah.
Now this car is, you can drive it on the freeway, you can drive it up to the ski resorts, you could to the beach.
You could definitely,
through the desert.
Yep, definitely. This car's, you know, again, the only limitations that it has is how far you can go per charge, but it'll definitely pull itself up a hill. It'll get onto the freeway very smoothly, and the max speed on this car currently is 80 miles per hour, and we went ahead and governed it, but this car itself could go upwards of 183 miles per hour. It holds the land speed record for electric cars.
So maybe the Indy cars might be electric cars.
Yeah, maybe.
For sure one day, right?
Maybe.
But maybe sooner than we think.
So does he have the EV1 smile? I think so.
Yeah, this is really just like a regular car. I feel just as if I'm driving any other car. I do feel a difference. You know, it's like downshifting when you let off the gas. This car accelerates very, very nice.
Yeah, you can see that you're easily getting up to speed. It's very smooth. You weren't waiting on a transmission to shift. You're going to be able to see how we're getting into the flow of traffic pretty easily. This car is definitely an attention getter.
And one thing is we're behind a diesel truck right now, and you know I can smell the diesel. Do you think one day they might have electric trucks, or is that just kind of way out of our?
Well, right now actually they have the Chevy S10 is electric, as well as the Ford Ranger is electric. Now, as far as big semi trucks, you know, certainly there are buses out on the roads right now that are electric, or really what we're looking at is more alternative fuel vehicles, such as compressed natural gas, something like that is definitely better for the environment than diesel fuel.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing a segment on biodiesel. Have you heard of biodiesel?
It's like a biofuel.
I have brought a CD along, so perhaps we could put the CD on.
Sure.
Everyone, this is an electronic mix CD from a label in England, and this is an electronic car, so kind of seems like a cool thing to have, an electric car, electric music. And so the motor is just so quiet. It really does whisk more than any other motor. Air conditioning. I would be more than happy to drive this car back and forth to work. Now you can't own the EV1 right now?
Right now they're for lease only. And again, they're for lease only in target market areas right now, such as Southern California, San Diego is included, as well as Arizona. One of the things that is currently being looked into and is in development stages is advanced batteries. And what that means is that you'll be able to get more range per charge. And those batteries are considered nickel metal hydride. So a lot of people are really looking forward to the release of those batteries, possibly even as early as first quarter of next year, that we'll see nickel metal hydride batteries be used in the EV1.
Now, will that be a permanent thing, or?
I'm not really sure how they'll choose to market that vehicle, whether they'll make it an option for lead acid, which is currently in this model and meets a lot of people's needs, or nickel metal hydride, which are more expensive, but will certainly meet, you know, more of the mass market's needs as well.
A lead acid, that just sounds scary. Is there anything to worry about? I mean, you know, lead has a bad reputation. We just got it out of our gasoline. Are these lead acid batteries, for anyone who's concerned about lead? Is this anything that in the vehicle you have to worry about as traveling around?
There's nothing to worry about in the vehicle. A lot of the perception is that lead acid batteries, you know, are bad, or if there's free-flowing acid, that would certainly be a bad thing. These batteries are self-sealing batteries, and what that means is there's a substance around them, so if any of them, the battery modules was cracked or in an impact or just a freak accident or something, there would be no free-flowing acid. So the consumer is definitely safe. Also, the batteries are located in a position between the two seats, so that's going to be one of the last areas to be impacted.
Other manufacturers are also coming out with their own EVs. Is it, I guess competition will only make the EV better and make it come as a acceptable, stable car faster, right?
Right, definitely. General Motors welcomes, more electric vehicles to the marketplace. We had Honda release an EV, I believe, back in first part of May. And certainly we welcome that because that only educates the consumer more, makes the consumer realize that this is a real car, it meets people's needs, it's fun to drive. I mean, as you can tell, it's fun to drive.
And I'm going to do the coast down so I can just press the button?
Just press the button and let off the accelerator and you'll feel the car start slowing itself down.
Yeah, and it's actually charging its battery up just a little bit more, huh?
Yep, and also when you depress the brake in a normal braking situation, it too is recharging the batteries.
Wow. Now, as far as you mentioned the recharging, the people who have set them up so far, cities and certain businesses, they offer that for free, but when you get, excess of over 10,000, 20,000 EV1s, what do you expect that to cost, for a half hour or an hour with a charge while you're in the market?
I'm not really sure yet how they will start metering public charging stations. Obviously, if you're looking at 10,000 cars on the road, then someone's going to figure out a way to start charging the consumer. But what our current customers, they have chargers installed at their homes, and they're seeing an impact on their monthly utility bill or electric bill of anywhere from $20 to maybe $40 a month. And you have to compare that to how much it costs to put gas in your car per month. The maintenance costs involved with operating an internal combustion engine. Certainly there are some definite advantages for operating an electric car other than the environment.
And just the way things are changing as far as the environment and the way that we're using our resources.
Right. Right now also consumers are provided, depending on the utility company that they use, they are provided a special rate to charge their EV on. What the utility does is comes out and installs a separate meter, and then they assess a special rate for those people operating an electric vehicle, generally during off-peak hours, such as 8 o'clock at night and after. But that meets a lot of people's needs, and that's when they're primarily doing their charging anyway.
And it's kind of like a bonus, for not polluting the air. You kind of get your electricity a little cheaper for that particular car. And I'm sure anyone who pays their utility company, they would think that'd be a great thing for your utility company to do.
Right, definitely there is an advantage to it, and utility companies are looking to make it, viable options for people at their home, maybe giving them a little bit of an incentive to operate an electric car. Also, it's best for the environment in the sense that you don't have power companies. Once there are more EVs on the market, the utility companies will not be powering down as much possibly, and that's when a lot of the pollution is created. Just the same as when you turn your car off and then you turn it back on, that's when a lot of pollution is taking place. Well, it's the same concept for utility companies or power plants to power themselves down.
Because in the evening, there's not as much being used, so that's for, then what happens is what you just explained.
Right.
It causes a loss of power just by the fact that they're changing their operation for the day.
Right, and you see, just like seeing the smoke come out of the smokestack when they're powering up and powering down.
Okay. Well, it's pretty interesting to drive an electric car. I never thought I'd be able to drive one this soon. I guess General Motors really surprised people when they came out with this car when they did.
Well, I think people, they saw that it was a necessity in the marketplace, and I think people are welcoming General Motors and other manufacturers to provide people an option now to, lease or buy an electric vehicle that is produced specifically to be an electric car.
Wow, cool. Well, I want to thank you, Amy, for giving us this tour of the EV1, and I want to invite you to go ahead and keep this CD.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's a label called Sub Bass, and it's a style called like breakbeat, techno type music, and a local label called Moonshine puts out these compilations, and basically the DJs mix the music all together, and you can just be driving your EV1, and the CD will keep going without interruptions, and hopefully you don't forget to charge it.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Professional enough that when I get back
Yeah,
to
well,
town, we'll